Welcome back to r/neighbors from hell, where people share stories about their crazy neighbors. And if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to join our amazing community. And without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. And the first one is titled, "Don't Take My Lawn Decorations." I had purchased my first home in a slightly lower class area of town, which is pretty close to an even lower class area of town. I know most of my immediate neighbors since most of them are pretty loud, and I would rather be friendly with them than have them be my enemy. Some local kid likes to go around collecting trash in his free time, a real nice kid. He does it for really no reason. Whenever I see him, I usually get him a drink, lemonade or soda, so he can stay hydrated. California is really hot. Sometimes I give him a few dollars. I offer the kid $30 a month to mow my lawn 2 times a month, so the kid has a gig for small but consistent income. The kid takes a lot of pride in his work. He mows the lawn, pulls weeds, moves rocks out of the driveway, and just makes my place look extra nice, even though I don't even ask him to do any extra work. This guy is great. This goes on for a few years. The kid is now a senior in high school. Family is not doing so great. The dad just lost his main source of income, and mom had accumulated debt, which puts a lot of stress on their failing marriage. The mom was verbally abusive and sometimes physically to both the kid and the father. And by the way guys, a little trigger warning, the story gets pretty sad at the end. Anyway, the kid keeps on walking, doing work, volunteering, and being a real happy, upbeat dude. Despite his troubles at home, the kid starts buying lawn decorations, mostly small little gnomes, some decorative rocks and bird bath, and he decorates my yard. It looks amazing, but I knew he must have spent a lot of his own money on that. I try to reimburse him and he denies. He won't take it. I know he needs a car and I was about to get a newer one for myself, so I gave mine for free. It really was the least I could do for this guy for everything he has done for me. A few weeks later, a drunk driver T-bones the kid and he dies on the scene. I was devastated, his parents were devastated, and they soon after got a divorce. They were fighting over who gets what, and the father discovers that the mother had a drug addiction she had been hiding. Straight out of left field. She wants everything they had and she lawyers up to fight the battle. Due to the debt the mother had accumulated on the father's bank account, he had really no money, and nobody knew where she got her money from. As sad as it is not my affair, until she sent me a letter claiming that the yard decorations are rightfully hers and that she will take them or else. Now, this is a problem. I get it, you lost your only child, you're in a lot of pain as a parent, but you were never a good parent to him. I was closer to him than you by a long shot. So I had a meeting with the father and told him not to worry about the court costs. I decided I was going to fund him in court. Long story short about the divorce battle, but he wins and gets to keep everything and even gets a restraining order on her. He then files for credit card fraud and puts all the debt on her. I heard from the father that she was recently arrested for driving while drunk and was searched and has a decent stash of meth on her. She is currently awaiting trial for that while the father is living a life now relatively stress-free. And also, I got to keep my lawn decorations. Rest in peace, Jonathan, you are missed. And yeah guys, Jonathan really sounded like an awesome kid. Rest in peace. And the next one is titled, "Am I the a-hole for not inviting my neighbors to live with us just because their house burned down?" I am an electrician and I sometimes do pro bono work for people in need, but because of the pandemic I've been slammed with paying jobs and I obviously need to take those so I can pay my mortgage and feed my family. We have had these neighbors for the past several years who my wife, a genuinely good soul, often gives clothes and old toys. We have kids that are similar in ages, and even though I don't love my kids playing with theirs, they often get in trouble with the law / stealing and vandalizing things. I don't say anything because I understand that they come from a difficult situation. I guess the last time they were over, they mentioned they didn't have power at their house and my wife asked me to go check it out. I didn't want to get involved, but because our property butts against theirs and I want to build a patio/pool area that might encroach upon their land, I thought it would be smart to help them out and buy some goodwill. On Saturday, I brought all my tools and stuff and checked out the wiring situation, and I saw it was an absolute mess. I don't know if they tried to do it themselves or if they paid some crackhead to do it, but bringing it up to code would be an enormous task taking weeks or months. They claimed it worked fine before it went out in a storm a couple weeks ago, but I cannot believe that is true. I know that there is no way they could afford to pay to complete the job, so I told them I would come whenever I could, but it couldn't be my priority. I somehow managed to restore power to most of the lights and appliances, and they were pretty grateful. So this is where the story kind of takes a turn for the worse. Last Sunday their house burned down, no one was injured except their 2 dogs who died, rest in peace, and apparently they are telling their friends that it only happened because of whatever I did when I fixed their power. This is ridiculous, as it was a cluster F before I even got there, and until the firemen complete the investigation, we won't know exactly how the fire started. I have not mentioned this to anyone, but I know for a fact that their 12-year-old loves fire, and I wouldn't be surprised if he started it by accident or intentionally. We have a pretty big house and my father built it himself in the 1920s. We have 3 extra bedrooms and my wife wants to offer them to our neighbors while they figure out what to do next. I'm not on board with this at all. I don't know how long they would be staying, and the father has been telling his redneck friends he thinks it is my fault. To me, it seems like a disaster waiting to happen. My wife thinks I'm being selfish and cruel. Last night I put my foot down, however, and told my wife that they cannot stay with us, even if this means the mom and the kids have to stay in a women's shelter. She thinks I'm a huge a-hole and is not speaking to me, but it is my home and I think offering it to another family is a huge commitment. Am I the a-hole? And guys, I would love to hear your opinion about this story. Do you think that OP is the a-hole in this situation for not wanting to offer his home to this other family because their house burned down, or not? Let us know in the comments what you think. In addition, OP edit, one detail that I haven't shared with anyone is I've been thinking of buying more property and they have about 2 acres. If we owned that, we would have a lot more privacy and I could build a couple houses for my kids or my elderly parents to move into. Even before this whole thing happened, I was planning on making an offer that I think they would accept because I know they need the money. And because our families are close, I would let them lease the now burned down house so my kids would not lose their friends. And a user in the comments said, not the a-hole, don't let them in your house. You said the 12-year-old likes fire, what if he decides to play with fire in your home? This family has sad and hard circumstances, but they have been in legal trouble for vandalizing and stealing. Who is to say that they didn't short the wires to burn the house down, claim insurance and sue you? And another person in the comments said, not the a-hole, this is why house insurance exists. I would be wary of offering to buy their land though, as it could lend argument and motive to their claims of you burning down their house to cash in on the opportunity. Definitely wait out the official investigation, and to echo the others, don't open your house to them if there is risk that their kid could have started that fire. And guys, sadly there are no further updates to this story because this is still quite a fresh story, but in case there are any future updates I will of course keep you posted. Although I have to say updates are not very that common when it comes to r/am I the a-hole, that's why I'm not the biggest fan of that subreddit. And the next one is another story from r/AITA and it is titled, Am I the a-hole for getting my neighbors evicted? My husband, 28, and I, 26, live in a city that is undergoing Portlandification, rent hikes and greyballs housing markets. We relocated here before the pandemic for work and got an apartment with the goal of buying a house within a year back when prices were manageable. Cut to pandemic housing boom/bust, and we've been stuck in this apartment longer than we expected. I am 100% against people getting evicted for pandemic related things, especially finances and illness and losing their jobs or using the criminal justice system as a weapon, but holy damn. Our building is all mostly retirees and college kids, but our neighbors next door that sound like Jerry Springer 24/7. They moved in about 10 months ago and I have no idea how many people live there. Because the apartments are studios or one bedroom, our lease says 3 people maximum. So far I think there are 4 women in their late teens, early 20s, all of them are pregnant and have at least 1 kid, an elderly woman in a wheelchair on oxygen, 2 men who I think are baby daddies, one of them is a huge creep. He took my bikini bottoms off our patio railing and smiled at me while he sniffed them. I hate being home when my husband is not. There is also a teen boy who sleeps on the patio and comes and goes. There is a pet limit to 1 dog per unit and they have 5. There is dog poo everywhere, mostly on our patio where it connects to ours. I have reported them to the property manager who says she cannot do anything because of the pandemic, but she was sending all the complaints about them to a woman at the corporate office. Yesterday was just the kids all screaming and crying and weed smoke and dogs barking all night and day and setting off firecrackers. Some straight up juggalo bullcrap. We didn't sleep at all. We would move out, but everything in our price range had a waiting list when we checked last month. The property manager from the corporate office called this morning to tell us they raised our rent starting next month from $900 to $1,350. I snapped when she told me the price change and blurted out everything, especially since we cannot use our patio or sleep or have any kind of peace, so we are not paying the rent increase. She didn't know about the complaints, so I told her all of it, from the potentially 12 people living there to the homeless teen boy, the poor old woman who I only see from the window sometime, and all the dogs. Turns out none of the complaints got forwarded to her. She said she would handle it. Now a lot of cops are here, an ambulance and I think even CPS. It is bananas. I feel awful because it looks like some of them are getting arrested, even 2 of the women. My other neighbor said the older woman got loaded into the ambulance. A few of my friends in the other buildings say everyone is struggling right now and I shouldn't have complained and that I am being a Karen, getting people arrested just because. And a user in the comments said, not the a-hole, there is bending the rules and then there is shattering them. They created a hostile living situation for everyone around them. You did what you thought was right. Another user said, not the a-hole, there's a difference between struggling and 4 to 12 people living in an apartment with a maximum of 3 people. The same goes for having 5 pets in a 1-pet apartment. You didn't get them kicked out, their own actions did that. This was not a situation of the neighbors having a second dog that they clean up after and is not actually bothering anyone. This is a situation where your actual living space was being encroached on. You told the apartment manager and she did nothing. It makes perfect sense that when you were told rent was increasing, you snapped. This was far more than people bending the rules a little bit. Because of the pandemic, this was absolutely demolishing the rules. There were people in that apartment that needed help, the old lady needed to go to the hospital, and children should not be growing up in that environment. And guys, now I would love to hear what you think about this story. Do you think that the author of the story is the a-hole or not? Please let us know in the comments what you think. And the next one is titled, Am I the a-hole for getting my neighbor evicted over them smoking pot in the main hallway? I live in 2A and I have 3 kids, 16-month-old and 3-year-old twins. I am 29 female and recently my neighbors from 2B have been smoking pot in the hallway right outside our doors. I actually didn't mind or complain at first because I could just put something in front of my door to block the smoke from entering my apartment and they appeared to be really decent people. We never had any issues. However, last week I went to leave my apartment with my 3 young babies and they were sitting directly beside my door smoking. I don't have a back door unless I use the fire escape and cannot pull down those steps without physically going outside. Which I cannot because I'm not leaving my 3 young babies upstairs unattended. When I saw them, I asked them to go outside with it or into their apartment because I didn't want my kids inhaling it. They were like, yeah, sorry, no problem, and took it into their apartment, so I thought the issue was cleared up. However, that night I was sitting out on the fire escape reading a book after my babies went to sleep and I heard the neighbors from 2B talking because their window was open. They were saying things like, F that witch. How funny would it be if we just like hotbox the hallway? They were giggling obviously high. I thought it was just talk because I have obviously smoked before and said I was gonna do some stuff but never followed through, so I didn't pay much attention. 3 days ago I wake up to my apartment smelling like I had just smoked 3 blunts back to back at like 5 AM. I hear them outside my door, so I rip it open to find one of them laying on their stomach and blowing smoke directly under my door frame. He jumped up and ran. I called the landlord and explained the issue. They had an eviction notice on their door this morning and started freaking out and asking each other why the F they were being evicted because they have paid all their bills. Am I the a-hole for getting them evicted? And a user in the comments said, not the a-hole, you tried to handle it reasonably, they escalated, you didn't ask for eviction, that was the landlord's choice. And another user agreed, he said, yep, they got them evicted, not you. Antagonizing your neighbors is always a crap thing to do, and that is what they were doing. I enjoy a good talk myself, but it doesn't take a whole lot to realize not everyone wants to smell that and to do it in a way that won't bother others. And guys, as usual, I would love to hear from you what you think about this story, so please let us know in the comments whether you think OP is the a-hole or not. And the last one is titled, Am I the a-hole for frightening a snooping neighbor by opening my door and causing her to fall? I, 33 female, live alone in a pet-friendly building, no breed restrictions, apartment building renting in a US city that has significant crime. Our building has 2 on the first floor, 2 on the second floor and 1 on the third. I live on the 3rd floor, I don't share a landing with any of my neighbors and anyone coming up to the 3rd floor is coming there for me. We don't have a secured gate or a front door to the building. I have a 40-pound dog, not aggressive in the slightest, does not have a leash aggression, does not resource guard. She does have one guarding tendency and due to where I live alone, I fostered this. She will bark at the door when someone is outside, she is part hunting hound so she has a very big vocal howl bark. I've always found this comforting because I will always know if someone is coming when I'm not expecting anyone. Sometimes people will come up to lurk on my landing who have no business being there and my dog will scare them away. She also lets me know when deliveries have been dropped off. A downstairs neighbor, 45 to 50 female from the 1st floor, has been up on my landing several times. She will sometimes bring up packages or mail if it is left downstairs, which is nice, but I've seen her through the peephole lurking around without anything to leave for me. One time she moved my doormat. She has seen me walking my dog several times. Outside of my apartment, my dog is all wax. She asked several times where my other aggressive dog is because she's been up to my landing and heard my dog's big barks. I have told her each time that I only have one dog and that she simply sounds only aggressive at the door. She hasn't stopped asking about my other dog though. Last week, my property manager emailed about reports that I may have 2 dogs, which is fine, just to let them know because they want to know how many animals are in the building. I wonder how they get this report. Today my neighbor was on my landing again. From my peephole I saw her bending down in front of my door but couldn't tell what she was doing. So I swung my door open with my dog standing beside me, loudly barking. She got spooked from the noise and fell on her ass because she was leaning down to look under my doormat again. I said, see, just one dog, like I told you. Then I realized she may have injured herself when she fell and offered to help her up, but she just stormed off calling me an a-hole and witch and said the building was better before I moved in. I have lived here for 5 years, this is the first time I am having this issue. My sister told me I'm an a-hole because I could have given the woman a heart attack by frightening her. I kind of see her point, however, I did not know she was going to fall over. I still don't know what she was doing on my landing. Other tenants have dogs too, and you can hear all the dogs barking anytime a delivery car pulls up. I always considered it the price of a pet-friendly apartment. And guys, please let us know in the comments what you think about this story. Do you think that OP is the a-hole or not? Anyway, a user in the comments said, sounds like she is looking for a key to try to get in and wants to know about your dog so she can know if there is one if she possibly broke in. I would get a camera ASAP and talk to your landlord about your concerns through email so it is documented. Another user said, not the a-hole, your dog barked. You opened your door, she was frightened not because you opened your door, but because she was snooping in a place she had no business. And guys, unfortunately we have already reached the end of the video. However, this is not the end of ripe content for you. I would highly suggest to check out my endless binge watch playlist, which will hopefully soon show up on the left corner of the screen, which will provide you with hundreds if not thousands of hours of ripe content. If you still haven't gotten enough, then please also check out my Patreon at patreon.com/ripeyoutube for more than 50 exclusive Reddit videos that you will only find on there. Furthermore, if you want to share your own story with our community, then please head on over to r/ripestories on Reddit, where you can share your own stories and there is a good chance that I might read it in a video. Thank you so much for your daily support and I hope to see you again tomorrow.